Even though today isn't the warmest, as you just mentioned, we got to wait all the way until the weekend. But we are starting to get to the days where you want to be outside as much as possible because it is going to get warmer. Maybe on your bike, or if you're much cooler, on your motorcycle. I have dreams. But it is always important to be safe. And now, of course, I have with me Bob Kazmierczak with AAA. You're here with us this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, I talked about safety. I am in love with the allure of motorcycles, the wind in your hair, the fact that there's only two wheels. There's nothing around you. I know it's kind of dangerous versus safe, per se.
Right. It can be dangerous. And really, our message today is that people pay attention to the fact that there are more bicycles and motorcycles on the road. Mm-hmm. And that includes now electric bikes, right? So that's kind of a different situation because they go faster than a regular bicycle, but not as fast as a motorcycle. So what we did find is that when mixed with automobiles, that becomes a dangerous situation. And last year, or in 2023, there were 1,200 crashes, wow, which resulted in 22 fatalities. So what we'd like to do is get the message out to people to pay attention to the fact that the bikes are out on the road. Mm-hmm. And then also advise us to what to do, right? So, and then I did want to talk about motorcycle safety for a moment. So in 2021, the National Safety Council came out with that motorcycles were a part of 14% of all traffic fatalities. 14? Yeah, 17% of all occupant fatalities, mm-hmm, and 3% of occupant injuries. So, it is important that, again, we pay attention to them, especially when we're in our cars. And then there's safety gear, mm-hmm, right? So the folks, when you're getting your kids ready to ride your bike or you're getting to ride your bike yourself, make sure that you have the proper gear. And for kids, it is recommended that they have a helmet, mm-hmm, the elbow pads and the knee pads. Now, you don't often see that, but definitely the helmet, to protect your head. That's very, very important. And then for motorcyclists, we want to make sure that they have the recommended gear, right? The gear that's heavier for them. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're going a lot faster. They could hit the road, and that's not a good thing.
The road rash, I've heard. But Bob, I won't look as cool if you can't see the wind blowing in my hair, if I'm wearing a helmet, or if I'm wearing the jacket. But obviously, why is that important to wear those safety gears, even though it may not look, honestly, it may not look as sexy?
Exactly, and really it's to protect yourself, mm-hmm, right? I have a friend that ran into a deer. He was on his motorcycle, mm-hmm, doing 55 plus miles an hour. He did have full gear on and survived. Yeah. It's a good reason to wear the gear.
Because you wouldn't think about it because it's a motorcycle versus a deer, but like that could have ended very terribly, correct?
Yeah, according to EMT and everybody else, it would have.
Wow. Had
he not had his gear on. So, it's a great example when you least expect it that something like that could happen.
True.
And then there are things that sometimes homeowners don't think about, right? Like when you mow your lawn and you're blowing those grass clippings out into the roadway.
Sure.
Those are slippery. Motorcycles can slip on those things.
There we go.
So we would ask people to be careful, or think about when they're doing that.
So we're not just asking for vehicles when it comes to the drivers themselves, but also bicyclists and motorcyclists. Everybody needs to take accountability and safety for themselves as well as for others. That's
right, and pay attention to them. And realize, too, that your bicyclists, they have to abide by the laws, mm-hmm, but we also have to abide by the laws, especially when we're behind them, right? There's nothing worse than going slower than you want to. So make sure that if you're going to pass, that you pass safely.
Bob, thank you so much. You've given us food for thought. And of course, I still want to be sexy, but I want to be safe. So that's very important.